Hi, I'm Amanda Morgan, and this is Not Just Cute, the podcast, where we discuss all kinds of topics to help bridge the gap that exists between what we know and what we do in early childhood education. We're starting conversations with academics, authors, decision makers, educators, and parents so that together we can improve the quality of early childhood education, while at the same time protecting and respecting the childhood experience. In episode 74, I introduced you to Michelle Deneen White, the creator of PlaySmart Literacy in Chicago. PlaySmart Literacy is a truly mobile outreach program, meaning that rather than hoping parents can overcome the burden of traveling to a specific location to receive services, PlaySmart Literacy goes out into the community, particularly in vulnerable areas, to contact families and meet them right where they are, both literally and figuratively. They teach workshops at laundromats, gas stations, and standing right in line at the market. They also help with resources. Last year, the group handed out 34,000 diapers and almost 10,000 books, all as part of their effort to empower parents to use language to build relationships and literacy. They believe every parent can contribute positively and powerfully to their child's development, and that socioeconomic status shouldn't limit a child's potential. The program itself is an inspiration, but if you spend much time with the people involved, you realize very quickly why it succeeds. It's people. The passion for this program and what it does for children and families is contagious. In fact, many members of the team were once on the other side of the program. They were parents learning for the first time that talking and playing with their babies could make a meaningful difference in their development. They saw the benefits of the program with their own eyes and in their own homes and decided they wanted to share that message with other parents. As parent play leaders, they now connect with other families with young children, sharing not only information, but also encouragement and support, and that powerful, infectious enthusiasm. In this episode, I'm joined again by PlaySmart Literacy founder Michelle Deneen White, as well as program coordinator Chloe Harrison and parent play leaders Brenda Lopez, Cecilia Gutierrez, and 𝐅𝐫𝐞𝐞 Collins. You can find this episode's show notes, which are always full of links, tidbits, and resources at notjustcute.com/podcast/episode 75. Before we jump in, a quick reminder that you can check out the Why We Play letters and grab a free sample letter by going to notjustcute.com/whyweplay. As I've said over and over, people don't value what they don't understand. So let's do our best to help others understand and value play. The Why We Play letters were written to help you do just that. Grab your sample letter today at notjustcute.com/whyweplay. As I mentioned earlier, the energy PlaySmart Literacy advocates carry is so powerful. I am blown away by the transformative process of this program, empowering parents not only to better serve their own children, but to become leaders in their communities as they serve as mentors to other families as well. The ripple effect of this program is truly powerful. If you are interested in building a team to serve families and children in your community, this episode may be just the inspiration you're looking for. Let's jump in. Michelle, I just think that the team that you've built it's an amazing piece of what you're doing. And so I want you to tell us just a little bit about how you've built this team, how that came to be, and then we'll hear from each person that's here today to explain a little bit about, we'll introduce who they are so that we get the face or the name, the name to the voice, and hear a little bit about their different roles.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you, Amanda. Honestly, this team is something that's emerged over these 9 years and just such a beautiful and significant part of what has been created here. So I'm really excited for everyone to meet them today. I have with me Chloe Harrison, who is our team manager, and she also works on the newsletters with us. I met Chloe. Actually, she contacted me. She found us through the internet and social media and was interested in our work. And so I was really happy about that initial connection. And 𝐅𝐫𝐞𝐞 Collins is here, who we met a few years ago. She was on a workshop that we were giving with she was a Head Start mom for one of the groups that we were doing a workshop with. And she was just really interested in Play Smart from the get-go. So that week, and this was during the time of COVID, so that week, Cecilia and Brenda went right over to her and dropped off some materials that she was interested in. And then she just kept following up and went through our training program and doing our paid outreach for us now. I also have Cecilia Gutierrez and Brenda Lopez with me. They have been on the team, I think 6 years. We figured out looking at pictures this month, and they were both parents again at Roseland Head Start that we were visiting that has since closed down completely. But that's where we met, and they initially were just super excited about PlaySmart, and then again followed up. We invited them during COVID to take the parent play leader workshops, and then when we got an opportunity, as the world kind of started reopening up again, to go out and do outreach into the neighborhoods. It was started with them, and so now they are actually doing running they're talking to all of our teams, talks to more than 200 people a week at 14 locations. And Brenda and Cecilia are also in charge of our Play Kit Factory, where we put everything together for our outreach. And they are also doing work, Cecilia, on the feedback loop portion in Spanish and English, doing that follow up with families. And Brenda is getting involved, and 𝐅𝐫𝐞𝐞, with our social media, the content, creating that, and getting the story out about their outreach, finding ways to do that with our grassroots messaging. So sorry, and we have more team members as well. This is who's with us today. So
And I'm so grateful to have so many. How many team members do you have total? We have a great representation today, and I feel really lucky to have them. But just to
right.
give us an idea of how many team members it takes to
So
build a
there's a
program like
little
this.
web and ebb and flow.
Uh-huh.
But we anywhere from between 9 to, or yeah, 6 to 9 to 13.
Mm-hmm.
We're at 13, so it really, changes. Everyone's part-time,
Mm-hmm.
but this is the core group here, and they are really developing into our leaders of our mini teams.
Yeah.
So this is the leadership group here.
Yeah. Well, I want to jump in. We'll bounce around and direct some questions to each person, but also if you want to add to that question, feel free. So I want to start with 𝐅𝐫𝐞𝐞.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about what drew you in that first time you meet as a parent. Did you meet with Michelle at that first meeting, or was it someone else that was running that?
It was Michelle that was given the workshop.
Uh-huh. Yeah. What was it
I
about
just
that workshop that really resonated with you?
well, I love the fact that it was teaching parents how to teach children how to actually have fun while learning literacy, how to talk, play, walk, read, and it was all coming together as one. And I was just interested in just learning more, seeing how I can get involved and to help other parents as well.
That's one of the things that I love that I keep hearing over and over is the way that this program is built helps that parent that's right in front of you right now, each of you as you're out in the community. And then that parent seeing how useful it is and the way that it changes them makes them want to go help others and spread that message as well. Cecilia, I want to ask you about that because you also came in as a parent. And so what were your thoughts when you, like 𝐅𝐫𝐞𝐞, had this experience where you see this is a great program for me and my family? Tell me a little bit about that first. How did it change your interactions with your own child?
For me, Play Smart Literacy is a life change. I didn't know that talk and play can make my child's development more better.
Hmm.
How do where do you play? That's what makes me become a better parent with my child now.
I see your face light up. I wish everybody could see that as you talk about it. I love that it's something that is almost simple in a sense. And then, like you said, to realize how powerful it is for your child's brain development, that those simple things, were a lot of those things that you were already doing and that you just realized how important they were, or did it also give you new things that you hadn't been doing that you now realized you could add?
No, I didn't know anything about adding words to your play at home, and I didn't know you can talk and play at the same time. I wish I knew that before when I was younger.
I think that's amazing. The things, just like you said, just talking more, just understanding how powerful that really is, that it doesn't take a lot more time or training or a lot more investment in a lot of these other things that are harder to come by, but it's just understanding those simple pieces and integrating them into your home and into your play. Brenda, you also came in as a parent, your experience, and you do a lot of the social media outreach now, right?
Yes.
I'm impressed by that. Social media is a mystery
It's
and a challenge to me.
yes, it's hard. It's a learning in progress.
So I'm curious, as you've become a parent play leader and also you're communicating with parents through the social media aspect of it, what are some things that you've come to understand, maybe some shifts in your perspective about connecting with and communicating with parents in those roles as a parent play leader and also communicating with them through social media? Have you had any surprising ahas?
Yes. It was like really surprising because I realized that I wasn't the only parent that didn't know that you could add words to play. I could be at the park and adding words. I didn't know that. And it gets me really excited when like when parents don't know that, and I'm like, okay, we got you when your baby was really young, and now you have access to some information. So even if my kids didn't have it when they were babies, it makes me happy that now another family that has access to our information. Even if they don't have access to buying books, they could get books from our little free libraries where we drop off, or through our book smart app that we have, or even through the reels that we play. They can I post locations to where we have our book drop offs. So I think it comes together.
I love that there's this recognition. I think for each of you in your experiences, there was that personal aha. And then, like you said, Brenda, to realize, oh, it's not just me. I'm not the only one that's having that. I want to have this aha moment with everyone. Um, Chloe, tell me about with the newsletter, what are some of the main messages that you're trying to communicate? What are some of the things you focus on as you communicate with parents through the newsletter?
Yeah, so the main thing that we are looking to communicate to parents when we send out our newsletters is exactly the same thing that our outreach team is trying to communicate with parents as well. That 10 minutes of talk and play back and forth with your child can be a play date and is a great way to boost your child's brain. So that's the number one thing that we do is we provide ideas for families to play with their child at home. Each week we have a different play theme. So this past week was S is for smoothies. So we sent out play ideas for how to have a smoothie play date with your child at home. So you can make a smoothie, a real one or a pretend one. You can talk back and forth about what you're adding to your smoothie, ways it tastes, etc. So that's one of the big things. The other thing that we do is every week we send out a World Reader book to our families, which World Reader is an organization that we have partnered with. And they have this online digital library of books that we are able to provide to families for free. And so all they have to do is sign up. And then each week they can get a different book digitally to read with their child, whether that's online or you can do it offline off of Wi-Fi as well. And so we send out one of those to our families every week that we try to connect them with our play theme. Sometimes they're super closely connected. Other times it's a little looser, but the idea is just getting books out there for families to read with their child at home in an easy and an accessible way. And then finally, we communicate to parents where we're going to be that week. So if we have any big events that we were invited to, we'll invite parents there. If we have any big programs that we're currently doing, like a campaign of some sort, we will share that with our families so that they can get the supplies that they need. We just recently were giving away pajamas, or we had given away free pieces of cake at one point from Portillo's. And so we communicate there with families. And then finally, it's for like all of our other community partners. So if we're partnering with another organization, we'll share a little bit about what we do there. And then Friday, we just send, so that's on Monday. On Friday, we just send out like a recap email, which is a much shorter email that we're really just trying to hone in on the play theme for that week. So this Friday, we'll send a smoothie one out. That's just like a couple of really simple talk and play ideas with families that pertains to smoothies.
I notice as you talk, Chloe and Michelle, maybe you can speak to this, that part of the focus is to get this really powerful but somewhat simple idea, right? Talk and play, and it can be simple. But I notice that you pay a lot of attention to making it accessible, to make it as accessible as possible to everyone. Like you mentioned, Chloe, that it can be a real smoothie, it can be a pretend smoothie, and we'll talk you through both ways that you can do that so that there are just no barriers. And I wondered, Michelle, if you could talk a little bit about that focus on making it accessible and removing barriers for families to be able to not only get the information, but also know how to implement it without barriers.
Sure. So that is that is what I'm probably most proud of with the design of Play Smart Literacy and how we are really building this together with our team. It's meant to be completely accessible and immediate, and something that we have talked about that we all enjoy connecting families with this information and letting them know it's something they can do right away. I know that Brenda had mentioned before that she didn't realize, this information when she was younger. And Cecilia said the same thing. And Brenda said even that she felt silly, talking on her own to her baby, and she didn't know, and so this is something that they kind of talk through with people. It's in our messaging. It's meant to be comforting, supportive of people in a personal way, in a happy, welcoming way, to let them know that this really is what we are offering in terms of awareness or connection, or learning, if you want. We are all learning. We try to really have that message out all the time too, that all of us are learning, building relationships with families and everyone that we meet that wants to be part of this movement, and that learning can start right away, in the same way that you can't pinpoint the minute that you became friends with someone. You can't pinpoint the minute or time that a relationship with PlaySmart started. So this accessibility, we send out lots of touch points that are immediately accessible, with lots of tiers. I mean, that's just a fancy way of saying it. There's a million ways. It's not about the toys. It's not even about the books, because we do want the message out. We do have books available. Right now, we have books that are paired with the play theme. We have books that are not paired with the play theme. We have gently used books beyond the new books. But if you can't get to meet us where we are, or you can't get to a little free library, or something else is going on in your life, there's other options available too. So even with the books, we have World Reader that you can get, but you can also do every idea on your own. We kind of want everyone to always know. I mean, as an educator, I'm a little nervous saying this, but I should, but what is in my heart is there's no wrong way to do it. And I think that's what I'm so grateful for my team, because they are compassionate, and they really spread that, and let people know there is no wrong way. Of course, this is a path. And so we can get down and get you more knowledge when you're interested, and by having personalized play dates with the team, and they can show you and get you started, taking workshops on our books, moving through our curriculum modules, all of that for sure. But there's no wrong way to start. And that message is conveyed a lot of the time in our newsletter, in that, even if it's a writing or a science play idea, that, this is pretend. And the great thing about pretend is you can't do it wrong. So your child is doing it perfectly. And we want parents to know, or caregivers, or any adults who are loving a child by spending this time with them, to know that we are grateful. And we put this messaging all the time in our newsletters, and our team says it. We are grateful for every ounce of hope that you are sharing with your young child in your life. Every conversation that you're having with them is really important. And so part of that build up and support is really not part of, that's a significant part of who we are and what we do. And I think that that's the way that people resonate, where it makes sense that, oh, this does start right now. I can actually do something today, no matter where I am in my life, even if in the middle of tragedy or challenges and significant challenges. And we work with families that undergo a tremendous amount of challenges and suffering and desolation that they see in their neighborhoods. But to say that there's something that they can do today to create a few moments of joy, connection with their small child, with this playful talk and play approach, and that actually is important. That's why we have the point system, and they can build the joyful practice to recognize that that is part of a thread of development.
I think you hit on some really important things there. I think so often when we think about accessibility and removing barriers, it's easy to go to things like language and economics, which are important to look at, of course. But I think you hit on a really important piece, which is the confidence and the validation and support, that every step counts, and that right where you are is right where you should be. And we're just going to hold your hand to that very next step. And I think that's an important thing for us to keep in mind. I want to hear from 𝐷𝐞𝐞 and Cecilia and Brenda, whichever one of you wants to take that, as you talk about being parent play leaders. I wonder if one of you, first of all, could just explain what a parent play leader does.
Cecilia, do you want to take that?
We connect to different families from different neighborhoods. And part of the outreach is we met new friends after you become a parent play leader, and connect with all these families that you don't even think of it.
And what do you do during that meeting? Brenda or 𝐷𝐞𝐞, do you want to tell a little bit about once you find those families, you're out in the community, you meet families, caregivers, what does that first meeting generally look like?
Well, we meet in the community and we stay connected. So it's really it's really nice that the families stay connected with us even through years. We actually got invited to a listening session sponsored by Family Connects. And at the event, we had an asylum seeker family from Colombia, and they registered with us and received our information and books from us. And they reached out to us. So after they registered with us, they received a text message. So they reached out to us to meet us again at a park in a different community near his home. And he started to receive where we were going to be at in different locations. So he received a text message that we were going to be at a gas station event. And he went over and got diapers from us, and the information from Diaper Time is Talk Time. And it's really nice that they're going to know where we're going to be at through a text message, through an email.
So they actually saw this father 3 times in a month.
That's amazing.
Almost once a week.
And that you offer that kind of support that, again, goes to both simple things, how to talk during diapering time, right? But also connecting them with other needs that they have when, as you described, this can be a very vulnerable time where families, and especially families with children, need that support. I just think it's a powerful thing to be able to be that person, that group, that support in such an important time in a family's life. 𝐷𝐞𝐞, could you tell a little bit about some of the things that you teach? Let's say maybe in one of these meetups, you're at the, first of all, I love that I hear, we were at the gas station, we were at the laundromat, we were at the park. I love that you're out there where the families are. And I want to come back to that in a moment. But could you share a little bit about what are some of the things that you might teach in a small, I'm trying to think of the right word for it. Is it a workshop?
Yes. So one of the workshops we recently did was at Marillac in St. Vincent, where we did the Get the Math workshop. So we just taught parents different ways to add math to everyday play with their children. And right before we started the workshop at St. Vincent, I, was out talking to parents and inviting more parents in. And the father literally was like, "No, my child is too old to learn. I mean, too young to learn math. Like, he doesn't know to do with math." And I'm like, "No, that is not true. Like, you can implement math when you don't even think you're implementing math." So during the workshop, he did join, and it was interesting, like how his perspective flipped over and changed, and he was like, "Oh, to the smallest word, like the smallest word, like, hey, you pick up that piece of paper. A piece of paper is math. You're teaching them just like one piece of paper, to this, to that." So just implementing those really small words that you don't even think is important, is really important. And you don't even know that every day you're doing something where you're teaching your children something with math. And it's not even clicking in your head, it's something you're doing. You're just going by your everyday life. And it was just really interesting to see how his perspective changed from when I first invited him in.
And when we use the word workshop, I think it's tempting for a lot of us to think, oh, a workshop, that's 100 people, that's 50 people. These are these big gatherings. How many people are usually in a workshop as you're teaching out in the community?
Sometimes it could be one person, maybe two families. And we go up as far as like 20 to 30 families at a time.
That one-on-one connection is so powerful. And as I've heard and learned more about your program, just that willingness to meet anyone where they are and to teach them right where they are. So I want to hear a little bit about the places where you go in the community. Maybe if any of you want to speak to why it's so important to build community outreach and to actually come to the community rather than being a center in a building where the people come to you. Instead, you are out in the community at different locations. Why that model? Why do you think that matters so much?
I can jump in. I think the most important thing is that something we've talked about already, which is accessibility. It's accessible to families. So our team spends a lot of time in laundromats, and families are there already doing their laundry, and they oftentimes have their children with them. And so we're able to just meet parents exactly where they are and say, okay, while your clothes are in the washing machine, let's have a play date, which is like the 10 minutes of back and forth. And our team will talk with the family about, this is how you can have a play date right here in the laundromat. Let's walk over to the washing machine and we can point out some things with the washing machine, or our team will take activities with them for the children to do with their parents while they are there. So I think accessibility is a huge thing. And then secondly, we're able to just see where the need is. So our program is set up in kind of two ways. The first way is that our outreach team, they will send to me where they want to go for the week. So they'll say, oh, we have connected with a family recently in this neighborhood, so we're going to reach out to them and go meet them in this area. And then they'll hit the spots around there. So they'll go to the little free libraries, they'll stop into different locations if we have relationships with them, and they'll just go to where the families are. Secondly, we will get invited to different community events, and that's a big way that we have built relationships with people. So we get invited to quite a few community baby showers, and so we'll go and we'll take our items with us there and meet families there. Or health fairs are a good outreach program for us. So we'll go to different health fairs and we will set up shop there and connect with people. And so I think the mobility of our program is so important because we're able to just meet families wherever they are in the middle of their day, rather than them having to come to us and like carve time out, because families don't have time for that. They really don't, especially with young children. So just being able to meet them where they are and say to them, it doesn't matter if you are like sitting down having this elaborate play date or you're in the grocery store. Like you can still build that brain connection with your child through just simple talking and playing with each other.
And that is so important, both just what you said, that it does not have to be this elaborate thing. It can be, and that's wonderful. But here are also simple ways to have these conversations, build those brain connections. And I think it's so important, like you mentioned, to meet them where they are, make it more accessible for everyone. I was actually just recently talking with somebody who was mentioning, an early learning outreach, so to speak, program, but it was located in one place and families needed to come there and they needed to carve out the time. And that was her observation. She said, the parents who need the families and homes that need this the most aren't able to make that work.
So also we go to like a freshman market bus and we meet different families there in two different locations. We had a family, which was the grandma, her daughter, and the granddaughter. And so they really, the parents, the grandma really didn't believe in the early literacy program or early learning at all. She said that the children are too small, that they don't learn like that. And it was really challenging to actually get her to see into our program. After weeks and weeks and weeks of trying, um, she finally gave in to us, and she paid attention to what we were trying to tell her, how it was so simple as just adding the words, playing with your baby, going to the park, or you're swinging high or low. And now, this one time, I had got out of the car on my own, and the little girls, she always gets a book from my coworker Cecilia, and the little girl goes, where's the other lady? And I'm like, oh, she didn't come today, which she did. But she goes, oh, and she was sad. And Cecilia always gives her princess book. Like we always pick out like the best princess book for her. And so when she sees Cecilia coming out the car with her book, she was like so excited. She started running to her and like, she was happy to see her because she knew Cecilia had something for her. And it was like, it's a really great connection to be with them.
And to build those relationships. So there's so many layers to this, that it's the information and the skills that the families are building, but it's the relationships and the support, just so many levels and layers that are strengthening these families and environments for children. I wondered if any of you could share a little bit about what you've experienced, some of the things that you've seen that you've helped parents to overcome in their belief system, I guess is where I'm getting. So I've heard several of you say that parents, one of the big things I've heard you overcoming is this perception, parents or grandparents, caregivers in general, saying they're too little for this to matter. So if any of you could speak to that or to any other beliefs that you've found are common that you've been able to help caregivers to better understand.
For me, I can say, whereas we get caregivers that always think that playing may be a little too much. You can't learn anything playing. Um, Even like when kids are in Head Start programs or early childhood programs, they don't want their children playing. They don't see the benefit of them playing. But once families get involved with to just do simple things in life just by playing with them on a daily basis and adding that maybe like 30 minutes a day of play and 5 minutes a day of reading and stuff, it really shows how parents are like, okay, it's not a problem with playing. Maybe playing is a good thing. Like I've had that before with my son, and with my daughter when they were smaller. Folks would just be like, okay, you playing too much, kids are playing. It's not all about that. And I actually used to believe like, okay, school is not for play. But then when I joined Play Smart and start really learning the foundation, I was like, this is why they play a lot when, they're in Head Start and, early childhood education environments, because it's motivating them and teaching them the life skills and literacy of everyday life. And just by like playing pretend play, children are literally learning how to be sympathetic, how to deal with people, how to talk to people, just how to do everyday life. playing in the play kitchen. They're learning how to literally go to the grocery store and shop, purchase groceries. So just even being a part of Play Smart and learning that important piece, that really showed me how to literally navigate with parents nowadays in this environment. Hey, this is something super important. Like, even if you don't think your child is learning, your child is really learning.
Ah. So I'm hearing that play matters is a key thing to understand, that it's not too early to talk with your child or to have these learning experiences together. Any others that you find are common?
Something that I was thinking of when she was talking was that it takes the pressure off of parents. I think I was a teacher before PlaySmart, and parents feel a lot of pressure to do all of these things to get their child to like where they need to be. And I think our message just really takes the pressure off of parents to just continue what you're doing, but add the words. And it's going to build your child's brain. You don't have to have all of these special things or do this super this intense routine. Like, just continue to do what you do. And I think it's relieving for a lot of parents. They kind of feel the weight lifted off of their shoulders, that it's not as hard as maybe social media or our culture makes it out to be. You can just talk and play with your child.
So important. Cecilia, did you have something to add?
Yes. Also, Brenda can help me with this one. It's about a mom that we met at the Fresh Moves Mobile Market. She was at a domestic violence situation. So now Brenda can speak more about her and how she became a friends with us, and then she changed her totally. Right, Brenda?
Yeah, so like Cecilia said, we met this mother at a fresh mobile market. So at the mobile market, you go on there and shop for fruits and vegetables. They used to be free, but COVID funds ended it.
Mm.
So now you shop for your stuff, but it's a great opportunity to add the words while you're shopping with your kids. But anyways, so we met her, and her son has speech delay. So she was like, the very first day we met her, she was like confused. She walked up to us and she goes, "Do you really think this program's gonna work for me? My son is speech delayed." And we're like, "This is a great opportunity for you because you're gonna get the text messages or the emails. You have access to them, English or Spanish." And she was a Spanish speaking mother. So we gave her books that we had also, and English and Spanish, because she did not read English, and gave our resources. And she after like we would see her twice a week at different stops, and it was a moment where you become friends with her. Like Michelle said, we don't know at what time, at what moment we became friends, but we started to become friends, and she had the confidence in us to tell us she was going through a domestic violence situation. And we encouraged her to get out of that situation, and we helped her as much as we could with her child, giving him the access to the book smart, so the virtual books, the books that we told her where little libraries were near her home. And we saw the drastic change in her, where we have seen her for 2 years straight always with a face mask, covered her face, and a bun, a messy bun. And when she got out of that situation, and I guess she felt the relief that she was actually helping her son, because she told us she didn't know how to help him. Um, she came back one day with makeup, her hair done, nails, and we were in shock, and we were so happy for her. It was like a heartwarming moment, that something so simple as her asking for the resources made her become friends with us.
That's so powerful. Again, those simple things, like you said, just simply asking for resources, but also being met not just with resources, but with people who care about you, and that consistency of meeting with her, caring about her child, and being that source of strength for somebody who's in a challenging situation, who may not have anyone else that can hear them, see them, and support them the way that you did. I think what you're doing is so powerful, and I love that it begins with something as simple as play and words, but it really trickles out to so many other layers of strengthening families and communities. And it's just such a testament to the fact that you can start with simple things and have a really huge impact, because it's clear that you're changing the trajectory of these families. It's really amazing. Is there anything else that anyone wants to add?
I can share. For me, I am just super excited that Play Smart is accessible. Also, and it's to me, it's not just for small kids and 0 to 5. I think it's accessible for all children of all ages with the world reader, and as well as children who are diverse learners, because when children are diverse learners with Play Smart, they can take their time, they can learn better, and then it's like getting down to their level and working on their terms to teach them what they need to know. So I just love how accessible, Play Smart is, and how we work everything around the parents' time, the person who is doing what they need to do, and the caregivers. We're able to give the caregivers what they need, and they can work it in however they need to.
Amazing.
I want to add that I love that the fact that this is a mobile program. You have access to it anywhere. You get a text message or email. You could be anywhere. You could be sitting down waiting for your doctor appointment to come up, or picking up your kids, and you're looking at the information, and now, or like you're reading through their emails showing how to play, and afterwards, and it's I mean, I just love Play Smart. It really, I saw the difference. Like I said, I was a young mother. I wish that somebody would have told me to talk to my baby, because I would read to my baby, but I wouldn't have a back and forth conversation. And so when I had my godson, I was like, I'm gonna try. I'm testing this theory. I'm gonna see it personally. And so with my godson, I talked back and forth with him, and he started speaking at a very young age, English and Spanish. And then I'm like, now I'm excited. I'm like, should I have another baby and try that? So I mean, it gets me really excited that these resources are now here for us. And I just wish that maybe even the hospitals will have a program already set up for when we're discharged. We already have access to this. So the doctors will tell us, oh, here, not just say, here's your baby. No, say, here's your baby. Look, this resource is available for you. Talk to your baby. Have a back and forth conversation, because honestly, I did feel silly. Like, why am I talking to a baby? Like, what is he gonna think, that I'm crazy? Or like, I'm outside and I'm talking to my baby and somebody's gonna pass by. I'm like, do they think I'm crazy or something? It would make me feel uncomfortable. But now that I know that back and forth conversation makes a difference, I was in shock, and I felt like I failed my kids at that moment, because I was like, I didn't know this, you know. And I'm happy that now I'm able to help other parents know something that I wish I would have known when I was younger.
That is so fantastic. And I love the energy. I wish that's one thing I wish people could see. I hope they hear it, because you can see, as each of you talk about this, the way that your faces light up, and just the energy and the excitement and the passion that you have for this work and for this message.
Yes, I couldn't say enough about my group. I mean, I'm so lucky, and I'm not just saying this, I mean, that I get to be with my team every day. It is honestly rejuvenating. It's something I get excited about all the time. And just pick up on their energy, and to be part of getting this energy, spreading it to more people, and getting them, part of this program. So it really is organic. It is something I'm super grateful for, and I'm just, yeah, it's a happy and wonderful thing.
One other thing I wanted to ask, and I don't know how brief you can make that, but I wondered if you could give us just a little idea about also the Peacekeepers initiative that you also work with in Play Smart Literacy.
Sure. So we are actually, we've been preparing our training. Next week, we're going to train 40 of the peacemakers in Chicago as a team. I'm super excited about it. And these guys are going to do the Life is Good games during the training as well. So peacekeepers are an amazing group of young people, mainly young men, And there are a few women involved, including a daughter of a family that's been with us for 7 years. They are young Black men and women living in South Deering, which is a very vulnerable neighborhood in Chicago. And what they do is amazing. It's outreach at a personal level. They're in the neighborhood every day. And they're just getting started. But what they are doing is basically working on getting peace agreements in violent hotspots. And so directly working with people about something obviously super serious, and they're in violent areas. Their work is tied to lowering the incidence of violence there. And yet we are just so grateful and just excited that they are starting this partnership with us. They're really interested in Play Smart literacy and bringing that to the communities as well as part of their outreach. So we're going to be giving them the parent play leader training, so that they are, familiar with what Play Smart is about, the science of talk and play, our curriculum modules about moving families from awareness, connection, deeper learning, and extensions, and so that they can incorporate that into their work. So, like I said, we're just absolutely thrilled with this. And Jordan and Vicente, who are leaders at Peacekeepers, are just, I'm in such admiration and awe of what they are doing. They're very brave. It is significant work that they are doing. They're absolutely brave and confident, and we're just so happy that they recognize the potential and excited about that, about bringing this news about talk and play to the homes of people so that they start this with children when they're babies.
And again, just the ripple effects of these small things, seemingly small, that actually are very big. And the work that you've all put into building relationships throughout the community and the way that changes those communities. I'm just in awe of the amazing things that you're doing. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks again for listening to Not Just Cute, the podcast. You can find show notes at notjustcute.com/podcast/episode 75. There, you'll find links to help you learn more about PlaySmart literacy and how you can get involved. You can also hit up the show notes for a link to the Why We Play letters. Head to notjustcute.com/podcast/episode 75. Or go straight to notjustcute.com/whyweplay to get signed up and download your free sample letter. I'm Amanda Morgan. You can read more on my blog and sign up for the Not Just Cute newsletter at notjustcute.com. You can also stay tuned for social media updates on Instagram by following me at Amanda_NotJustCute. Thanks for listening today, and as always, thank you for standing up for children and for childhood.